conference organized by People Democratic Organization, Independence and Socialism, Pdois. So we want to state our position on the upcoming elections, to also introduce our aspirant mayoral candidate, Mr. Adam Abba. But before that, Mr. Halifa Sallah, the Secretary General of People's Democratic Organization for Independence and Socialism, Pdois, is going to state the position of the party on the upcoming council elections. We believe that the country is going through a transitional phase, and then to keep the country together, we need to position ourselves and explain our position. Because what we thought was that the presidential cannot happen during the presidential election, will happen throughout, but it did not happen that way. But still, it's party, but still we want to keep the country together, and then still it's focus that what we want is one Gambia, one nation, one people. So Halifa is going to position, say our position, and then later Adam will lay out his plans. So thank you very much for your attention. Mr. Halifa.
We thank you very much, the members of the media. This is the beginning of a new beginning. The councillorship elections did reveal that a new Gambia and a new Gambian is still in the making. That the creation of a new Gambia and a new Gambian is not achieved once and for all. That this is a process. It is important for us as a party, which have committed itself to the nurturing of the sovereign Gambian, to the point of participating in coalition building from 2003 to 2016, would appraise how far we have gone in that project. Because we are convinced that without the sovereign Gambian, you cannot have democracy, you cannot have a republic, and you will not have a country that belongs to the people. A country will only belong to the people if power is derived from their concepts, and if power is exercised to promote their liberty, dignity, and prosperity. Until we achieve that liberty and that prosperity for all, then we cannot say that new sovereign Gambian has actually emerged. We must take stock. And we have seen everywhere comments being made on the councillorship elections. Some claim that it has done dismally. But it is important that we rely on facts rather than fiction to make generalization and judgment. Pdois participated in the elections as a tactical instrument in pushing the country through its transitional phase because of our consciousness that we did not create a ruling party in this country as a result of the 2016 presidential elections. We negated the concept of a ruling party we created an independent presidency whose fundamental objective has been still is to ensure that no single party takes control of the country, no single ethno-linguistic group takes control of the country, no single religious group takes control of the country, that as a whole the Gambian people will take over the country, build its instruments, the constitution, its institutions, and then we head towards a level ground for multi-party contest. And the parties will put their program before the people who have become conscious and could no longer be subjected to any form of inducement or intimidation in order to entrust their power to a person or party. Pdois is still working on that project, that the 2016-2018 electoral cycle be a basis for the birth of the Republic and the sovereign Gambian, and thereafter elections will be conducted in a free and fair manner, and whoever is elected will earn the support of everyone, so that one will be assisted to put your program into practice. That is precisely why we put up 32 candidates in the councillorship elections. Out of the 32 seats, we quantified that 82,000 voters participated plus voted in the elections. Out of the 82,000 plus, 27,562 voted for the UDP, constituting 33.49% of the total number of votes. You will be surprised to hear that Pdois came out second with 16,991 votes, comprising 20.64% of the electorate. The EDC follows 14,814, 18%. Then APRC 11,556, 14%. NRP 3,144, 3.82%. PPP 2,697, 3.27%. GMC 2,659, 3.23%. Independent 2,069, 2.5%. JPDP 683.83%. And NCP 130, 15%. So the 32 seats where we contested reveal the figures I have mentioned. And in addition to that, we look at Banjul, where Pdois had never ever won a seat in the council and never ever participated in council elections. That we did not only win one seat, but in 3 of the seats we came very close second, less than 30 votes between the Pdois candidate and the winner. And in other seats, we came also a second, even if it's not so close. So in actual fact, we put 6 candidates, and clearly we are well positioned in Banjul to be a factor in determining any outcome in terms of elections, in terms of the mayoral election in Banjul. In the KMC, it is very clear that Pdois came with 3 seats, APRC 4, and the UDP the 12 seats. So in actual fact, you have these three parties well established in the KMC area. And there is a factor because we have seen that where we won is really the heart of the municipality. So no one can say that they did this much. What we can say is that we performed to our own expectations, looking at the factors that we were confronting. There is a party that did not induce anyone, did not intimidate anyone, simply put its program before the people, and the people went to vote. And today in Jare, there is a dispute. Our members say that as far as they're concerned, they won the election. And the declaration puts the UDP to be the winner. So we are taking their evidence. We'll continue to discuss with the IEC. We have 1 month to file an election petition. And it is very likely that that could be because of the weight of the information they are giving us. And we hope that the IEC and those who are declared the winners will begin to look at the issue, because we want free, fair election. We don't want an election where a person is in office knowing that you have really cheated to be there. So in essence, we would want the IEC to look into the issue, and we have given information to the person who was the returning officer of the complaints lodged by our side, and tomorrow officially we'll be writing to the IEC to indicate the evidence and the weight of evidence that we have received to see what could the outcome be in light of the evidence that we have. It is important for Gambians to understand why we have councils. Without an understanding of why we have councils, it is meaningless for a person to cast one's vote. Human society requires human settlement. And you cannot have any form of organization of a community without spatial and human settlement. You must assess the space, the human beings, and the resources available in order to plan the development of any society or any community. Local government is designed to address a fundamental principle of economics, that without a balanced and proportionate development of communities, we will have disparities, and consequently, communities that are disadvantaged will continue to be poorer, whilst others will develop. To ensure that there is balanced and proportionate development of a whole nation, local governments are created so that they deal with the developmental needs of the communities. The Gambia established areas, divisions, districts, and villages under the Local Government Act. And the areas provide for area councils, and the municipalities provide for municipal councils. These areas that are created are put under the responsibility of elected officials that we call councillors, headed by mayors or chairpersons of the area councils. The fundamental objective was to ensure that the council serve as an instrument for planning human settlement, spatial settlement, and accessing the resources required to be able to ensure that we promote development in any locality. That development will go hand in hand with proper organization of the community. We have realized, and that's why we are participating in the council election for KFC, for the Kanifi municipality. We have realized that in terms of spatial policy and planning, you go to the industrial zone that was meant, and that is the Kanifi industrial area. That place was meant to be an industrial zone, to be able to attract investment, so that there will be productivity, there will be processing, and consequently employment will be generated. This was since the First Republic. The land was given to people. We don't know what was the contract, but the land is there, and there are skeletal industries. We will not find the type of industries that were envisaged. What went wrong? Who is telling you that? It is only Pdois that had made it its primary preoccupation to emphasize that without manufacturing, we cannot generate employment. And without generating employment, our young people will continue to seek for greener pastures elsewhere. And that was supposed to be an industrial zone. It has not happened. In spatial policy and planning, you have to first identify where you're going to build your markets, where you're going to build your garages, where you're going to build your hospitals, your schools, all the infrastructure needed, not only for council use, but also for national use, so that you demarcate what is national property and what is council property. But go to Backwater today. Is that Backwater dump site a council property or a central government property? The council is utilizing it for a dump site. But I am sure during the mayoral debate, our mayoral candidate will be able to interrogate the state of that land and how far it has gone so far. And for us, that should be council property. And it must be utilized for a purpose. In spatial planning, you must ensure that you know where your roads are going to be built, your drainage facilities, your sewerage facilities, where telecommunication lines will be placed, in terms of electricity also. Their lines will be created. Water will be created. All this needed planning, prior planning before implementation, before the expansion of the settlement. We have engineers who had done study why we have this flood, called flash flood, in our area. Sometimes they can even take transports away, children away, women away. These people living with disability, physically challenged people away during rainy season. You've seen Backwater, the stream, going all the way to land, eventually emptying into the ocean. All those places are wetlands. Local Government Act did not drop from the sky. After the coup d'etat of 1994, consultations were made in terms of local government reforms. We, for many hours, weeks, and months, were invited at Kairaba for discussion by the international community, UNDP, all these international organizations, as to the type of local government structure we should have. From 1994 to 2002, we did not have a new act. It was in 2002 that the act came into being. And the act created your area councils. And in order for them to serve the purpose of development, each council has departments. It has an office, an executive, a clerk, and departments. So it's an institution. A council is an institution. We employ people with capacity, and those departments have directors, and they are supposed to work just like the director of the central government. The councils were empowered to get resources from you. They do so through rates. They do so through taxes. They do so to issue licenses and fees, royalties. Every lamp pole, every telephone pole should yield royalty for the council because it is on council land. The councils are empowered to invest, to engage in public-private council partnership, to invest so that they can derive revenue. They can rent their land. That backwater, a dump site, if it is properly reclaimed, could be transformed into a housing estate. So with that, the council will be able to generate earnings from rent and also, in a way, help those people to own the building after paying the sum. Rather than paying for life and renting for life, the council can abrogate that and ensure that you rent to own. And that is precisely the policy of Pdois. That once we take control of the council, and now we can only have half control because we requested for you to give us the seats. You gave us 3 out of 7. We thank you. We will show you what we can do with the 3. But still we have not taken over public. Now we are saying give us the head. Because the head is responsible for exercising direction over the council. On the basis of rules, on the basis of the constitution, on the basis of the bylaws of the council. And the person we are putting has experience in being able to look at the council laws and understand them. And would be able to preside because he has been occupying managerial positions. He does not have to beat his own chest, but managerial position with the capacity and with the type of relation with Pdois, there is absolutely no doubt that the council will be managed on the basis of the rule of law. So in essence, the council would require a head who would be able to guide its operations. And that's what we are requesting for. Because once that is done, at least we'll be able to build the legacy of the council. And anybody who comes again will be able to build from there. That's what we have requested. But the essence of the council is that it will derive revenue, and it is required by the end of September to come up with this budget and then the annual budget of 1st January to 31st December will then come into being, and the budget, as many of your councillors were saying, 60% should go to development. But how much is that 60%? That must be calculated, that must be understood. And you must ask yourself the question, with the council budget, is it even possible for 60% to go to development? Because the council budget will have to go into 3 areas. One is administration, the other is development, the other is welfare services. So essentially, before you build infrastructure and all that, you're talking about services in terms of collection of waste, etc., etc. So this has to be done scientifically. You cannot just go and make laws without knowing the reality on the ground. You must see whether, if you take 60% from a council budget, you'll be able to maintain an administration and you'll be able to maintain services. These are scientific issues by technicians, by study. You do not just speculate. And that's not how you make laws. So essentially, what we can promise you is that the person who are putting up as mayor, immediately after assuming office, will do that proper assessment to see what is going to administration, what is going to development, what is going to welfare services. How do you augment it? Becomes fundamental. We are told in the Act that government is supposed to give 10% at least for those services that are decentralized, but 10% for development, to augment council development policy, or council development program, as per the development budget of the council. We must be able to establish what is recurrent budget of the council, what is development budget of the council. We promise you that when this person takes over, that is precisely the work he and his technicians will be able to do. So that clear line of demarcation will be made. What is in the Act will be implemented, demands will be made to the government, and the National Assembly members will be put on their feet to ensure that the government does what is there in the law, because no government has the right to disobey the law. That is the firmness and assertiveness and the clarity that a Pdois candidate, if elected, would inject in the councils. In the Act, it conceives the fundamental law of balanced and proportionate development. That is why there is the concept of an equalization grant. So that if certain councils are falling behind, government can augment the earning capacity through grant of those councils so that they can catch up. Have the law been implemented in the past? Who bothered to examine it, to put it into operation? There is also the concept of government decentralizing. What is decentralization? Decentralization is not only building village development committees, ward development committees. Decentralization is there in the Act as a concept where government, central government, will consider itself to be less capable of delivering certain services within a municipality. Then it agrees on the basis of contract to devolve and then give those services to the council. It could be in health, it could be in education, etc., etc. So when it does, then it must provide grant to be able to give support to those services. So the council will receive funding from government in order to maintain those services. We are all talking about the young people who are being brought back home and their tragedy. I will be giving a letter and documents as well as a registration certificate of young people who came, according to you, from the pathway, but decided to establish their own organization, have their own poultry project, look for their own land, and are simply ready now to work if they get the support. Well, we know that there is
Youth Empowerment Project.
Youth Empowerment Project, and the funding that has come. So in that sense then, we expect council to generate employment, self-employment, by working hand in hand with central government, by ensuring that that money for the youth empowerment project would also be shared in such a way that the council will have all these young people to have their projects, quantify them, and then be able to present them as something that government could give the council to administer, because the council will be more competent to do the day-to-day monitoring of what is happening on the ground. This is how a Pdois administration intend to bring the council to the doorsteps of the young people, of the women of the municipality. Because there are also many women projects with a lot of funding. And there are also would-be projects where if you have very solid conviction that the projects are viable and that there will be transparency and accountability, many of our partners will be willing to support those projects. So therefore, women, men will be encouraged to come up with realistic projects and make them as programs for the council and seek the funding to be able to fund. The council has a responsibility of ensuring that in the area of education, early childhood, to promote investment in that area, in upper basic, in senior secondary school, and wherever government believes that the council has the competence to handle it, and the council will try to prove that as much as possible, then one could expect that certain areas will be given back to the council to take care of. In the same vein, the Local Government Act provides for health and public health. And there is supposed to be a public health committee of the council. And that public health committee will look into the areas of public health. When you come to vaccination, the council may be more competent at least to deal with that area within its own municipality. So it can work with central government to know which areas could be ceded to the council so that it will be able to handle that in terms of health. But in addition, is to buttress and supplement the presence of central government in the locality in terms of health. Because primary health care becomes the responsibility of the council. So primary health care is based on education. So the preventive dimension is very important. Maternal and child health is very important. So the council, under a Pdois mayor, in collaboration with the other councillors, will work on looking at all the areas where the health facilities are at a distance. At least minor health centers, major health centers, and certain dispensaries would also be encouraged to be established by the councils in those areas after the financial viability of those facilities are properly assessed. In the area of agriculture and natural resources, the council is supposed to create a committee for natural resources, where it looks at the environment and what is degrading it, and look at what can also be a resource in the environment. We have assessed that backwater stream, rather than be a source of pain because of the flood, would have to be transformed into a resource for development for people in the area. People are being driven from the beaches. We are saying that if you look at that whole area that covers the Cardiff municipality, going London, going further, backwater, going further, all that area can be looked at, and dredging can take place so that more will go in, and then the surrounding wetland could be properly taken care of, so that the council will be able to build different canteens, modern ones, and other facilities, so that those who want to sell will go there. And then there will be, the person we are selecting has always been in the tourist industry. That is his area. That's where he has expertise. And there is absolutely no doubt that the possibility of getting the tourists to come and visit those areas, and there is a proper strategy in terms of tourism. There are people who really want to come to countries to help bring about development, not just to exploit those countries. Then those markets could be expanded so that they can come and see what people are doing and give them support on the basis of that. That will generate employment and self-employment in the municipality. And council can earn rent from renting those canteens, those stores, or selling them for people who can buy alternately, if it is feasible to do that, if that is the best practice. Because we are not saying we'll dictate everything. This is open for discussion, so that one will see the plans that can facilitate the development of the municipality and ensure that work is generated. We have talked about spatial policy and planning. Spatial policy and planning includes where you can put urinals, because not everybody, this is an urban area, not everybody can go to a home and say you'll use their toilet. You need public urinals. Not only that, you need parks, you need playgrounds. Where are the playgrounds? Where are the parks? We grew up in Serakunda. We knew what it was. And where you could go, where you have vegetation, green, that's why you will see a green constituency. That's what the candidate is talking about. It's not that I'm giving lecture, we have related. What I'm saying is what he is saying. We spend hours and days looking at the whole agenda of the needs. So essentially we are speaking the same language. I'm simply emphasizing to you that we will serve as oversight. He will do what we agree because we are the party. And we do not want tomorrow, you said that we've given you somebody and look at their performance. That's why the party is articulating exactly what he would have articulated. So that you will see that that is our agenda. It's not an individual agenda of an independent candidate. It's the agenda of a political party and an agenda of a party that is not looking inward but trying to be inclusive. We will not take full control of the council because we have only 3 councillors there. They also could serve as oversight. So it is better for this municipality to have a person like this candidate who will have not only National Assembly oversight, Auditor General oversight, but will also have party oversight and council oversight. That is a weakened mayor. And for us, we wanted a weakened president, as well as weakened mayors, so that nobody will dictate the agenda for anyone. Only development will dictate the agenda. Development not for a few, but for all. That is the agenda. So in essence, when this candidate is elected, the first thing that will be done is real land auditing to know all the council land that is available, how it is utilized, whether there is any possibility of replanning, and how all those land available will actually be utilized in a new way. So be rest assured that wherever there is a playground, maximum effort will be made to give it maximum capacity. Instead of just saying, well, we are going to, where for me, I'm behind time. What do you call those places where these young people go? Greenland or what? Well, you know, there are some playgrounds there in the hotel area. What do you call them? A green park. They say green park. They're educating me. Because you see, I'm no longer as young as you anticipate. But essentially, what we are saying here is that that is going to come right here in the center of the municipality. Wherever there is council land, it will be well planned so that children and young people will have a place in this constituency. A place where you have halls, well prepared for them to be able to go and at least relax, exchange ideas, libraries where they can go and read, playground where they can go and play, so the children will be children again. The environment will be made green to the best of the council's ability, so that they can go on retreat. Just imagine that stream up to Lamin, if it is properly taken care of. The Boy Scouts and Girls Guides will now be able to use. That's what used to happen before. They will run into these forests and making signs and in a way, real examination of life in the forest. All that used to happen in our childhood. And it helped the young people not to go astray because they were guided by elders who loved children, who were willing to be with them, willing to counsel them. Now when you talk about I am with the youth, you are talking about every time in halls, because those young youth leaders don't have a ground. Where do you take them? Anywhere you want to take them is money. So the municipality will create the possibility and put an end to the dilemma of those youth leaders and provide them with all the opportunity so that they can be close to the children again and the children will have ground. It is important in coming to my conclusion that the council, after spatial planning, would now require involvement of the people in planning, in concrete implementation of projects. That is why you have village development committees. And that is why they are not supposed to be controlled by political parties. They are supposed to be controlled by the people in the municipality. You have ward development committees, where village development committees will send representatives, so that those people will be able to help in the planning of the council, so that the councils will be grassroots institutions. That is the purpose. So we are saying that these institutions will be strengthened, they will be consulted. You look at the act, it even talked about nominated members in the council. But who should nominate them? At least the organizations, interest organizations, should make the recommendations to the mayor, and those people will be appointed. Have we ever had any press release that now we've constituted the council, the elected members are there, now we want to nominate the nominated members? So any NGO which believes that it could contribute to the development of the municipality and also represent the voice of the people should send their actual recommendation to the mayor. Have you ever had that in Gambia? It's not because we're indicting others. We're saying that that is the difference of Pdois. That it is a party for the people. And therefore, in our planning, the people come first. So you think about them first. And if you look at all our programs, we have even said it before, that's another matter. I don't want to go into that. That's presidential election. Because we told you how we were going to fill certain posts, but we will not go to that. But this one, nominated members, we are promising that if this candidate becomes the mayor, the end to partisan nomination of nominated members, appointment of nominated, will come to an end. You, the people with voice, based on your organizations, which want to serve justice, women, children, the physically challenged, the unions, you are the people who will send your recommendation. You will be asked to send your recommendation. And based on that, the appointments of nominated members will actually be made. We are emphasizing that with that, and the village development committees, the ward development committees, the council will change its whole direction. That it will begin the process of involving the people in the administrative life of the council. In terms of sanitation, the promise is to get the village development committees, the ward development committees, the councillors, to begin house to house sensitization of how to manage waste. We will start to manage waste at the home level. And the type of trash cans that could be utilized to separate the waste will be something that will be promoted. For any donor, for the council with its capacity, we don't want to romanticize what would be done, but every effort will be made based on capacity and based on any support to ensure that when you are throwing whatever you consider waste, if it is food, you know where to throw it, and it will be taken so that it will be transformed into fertilizer for some, into food for some animals. We all know that traditionally it's even happening. It's just not organized. And sometimes we poison the animals because of what we throw in the food. But this will be consciously done, and at the same time, it can be transformed into energy. The same thing with paper. The same thing with plastic. Anything that is consumed, if it is to be thrown away, you will know where to take it. And then the council will move from there also to establish the places where you will have these containers to be able to put it, so that ultimately it will go to the places where our environment will be kept clean. This is a promise. In terms of drainage, the council is responsible for secondary roads. When the major roads are being built, the minor roads should be built by the councils. We are promising that the engineers who have done some study as to how to improve drainage by creating discharge wells where water will be drained in areas where they flow, so that ultimately you can transform that water into other purposes. We have already made effort in the past to talk to the previous mayor, but it was a time that he was leaving. But this new mayor will be there for 4 years. And consequently, that linkage can be put so so that that engineering work, which will not only be new in the Gambia, but new in the world, and hopefully will in fact be transformed into an intellectual property and be exported elsewhere. The person is committed. That's Halifa Joe. He is committed. He has done all the drawings. We've gone to the council. He's shown the drawings to the council. He is well prepared. And the former permanent secretary applied job in terms of works. These people collaborated free of charge, day and night, to work, draw, did every study for presentation. But there was no council to present because the council was a transitional one. So we are promising that we will put those intellectuals, those technocrats, those technicians into the service of the council. When this person that we are now putting up actually wins the seat and becomes the mayor. I'm sure that you don't want me to continue speaking forever. Some of you may already be tired. But what we are saying is that we are whetting your appetite. That the role of Mr. Adam Ba is simply to earn your confidence that he has capacity and that he has the commitment to deliver. We pose that question to him. Why, at this stage, have you decided to offer yourself as a mayoral candidate? And he said, I must say that my experience throughout has always been connected to development. And I am now fully groomed to be ready to serve. And has promised us, by his own words, which we wrote down, that my commitment should never be doubted. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. General, Mr. Halifa Sallah. Now we are going to listen to our mayoral aspirant, Mr. Adam Ba. He promised development for all and not for the few. So, Mr. Ba, speak out to the election. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Halifa Sallah, the Secretary General of the party, and of course, the army, and those on the high table, Sambu, my friend, and Usman Jai, and of course all your colleagues and the press that is present here today. The purpose of this gathering, of course, is to talk to the press, but we also hope that there are others who are here who can listen to this message, especially party militants, party supporters, even those who are not party supporters, so that they can hear the message. And from here on is work. We are putting a challenge out. Those who are telling us it's late, we are telling you it's not late if you are ready to work. That's the main thing. We are calling on all people who think or love this party and are sure that this party is the best party on the land and is the party that can actually transform this country, to come together with us and work tirelessly to make sure we take over the Carnifing municipality. Can I hear you say you promise? Are you promising? Okay. Anyway, two comments I would like to make from Halifa's summation before I take permission to read my statement. One is, it is sad what you see in this country. It is really sad. And if you look around and see all the filth and see how we live, I mean, people, you will think it's not people really. I'm not insulting you. It's not people living here. It's really sad. And if you manage to travel, you don't even have to go very far to see the difference between what people call development here and what is real development. We need to work really hard. It is also sad that for all the candidates, I've been listening keenly. I am hearing old Gambia. I'm not hearing new Gambia. I'm hearing promises. And no one is talking to us about where do we get the resources from. Before you tell me, I will do this, I will do this. Halifa this summation told us what this party is all about. That we must have to look for resources. Resource mobilization for any institution that wants to grow is key. And it should not be dependent on taxes, for heaven's sake. Taxes will never make us sustainable as a country. It is taxes that brought us here. It is taxes that made our people to be going abroad every day, dangerously too. And we still want to live this way? We still want to live as we are today?
No.
No. Therefore, I just wanted to say that briefly before I beg your pardon to read my statement. We're calling, or I'm calling for a new municipality for a new Gambia. That's what we need. A new municipality for a new Gambia. And I'll talk to you about my experiences. In order to meet the challenge and demand of our time and place, the Kanifing municipality, in its rightful place, the commercial, financial, and industrial hub of the Gambia, I offered myself and was accepted as a candidate of Pdois for the mayorship elections of KMC to be conducted next month on the 12th of May. KMC needs a new direction to meet the needs and challenges of our time. I come with a vast experience in management and in development of sustainable people-centered businesses that are needed today in KMC. After working for 3 decades in various positions, which includes administrative and managerial services in the tourism and hospitality industry, I am equipped with the experience and knowledge to give what is required to transform our municipality into a vibrant, clean, and modern commercial center for the new Gambia. It is good for me to emphasize that as far as I am concerned, all development to be implemented when elected as mayor can only be done with the active participation of citizens of KMC for their own development through liberty, dignity, and prosperity. I took a voluntary retirement as a deputy general manager at the Bungalow Beach Hotel. I hold a master's degree in tourism management, specializing in responsible tourism. Over the years, I took up the pioneering role of promoting responsible tourism in the Gambia, the sub-region, and the world over. This took me around the world, engaged as an international consultant and speaker at international conferences. My experience in the establishment and promotion of small businesses is a valuable asset that is needed to help boost the growth of businesses, especially small businesses in our municipality. In 2000, I helped establish the Association of Small-Scale Enterprise in Tourism, an organization that promotes and protects small-scale business players in the tourism industry. The organization serves the interests of craft market vendors, tourist taxi drivers, tourist guides, juice vendors, fruit sellers, and a host of other small-scale participants in the tourism industry in the Gambia. Earlier in 1995, I championed the establishment of an NGO I call the Gambia Tourism Concern, a body that advocates for sustainable tourism in the Gambia, that also works with young people at the beach referred to as, I would hate to say, bumpsters, by providing them with income through the sale of a tourism magazine that we publish as a promotional tool for sustainable tourism. Given such an experience, my KMC Mayoral means a municipality that recognizes the need to support the growth of informal and small business for prosperity and the active participation of young people in their development. Internationally, due to my involvement in promoting better sustainable forms of tourism, this helped in the promotion of the Gambia as a destination to be visited. I featured regularly as a speaker promoting the need for fairer tourism that links local production to the tourism industry, to avoid leakages of much needed foreign exchange at international trade fairs, at conferences around the world to boost our country's tourist visits. I am a fellow of a host of tourism promotion organizations around the world, including the International Center for Responsible Tourism, UK. I am regularly consulted and widely sought after on matters of tourism in the Gambia, the West African sub-region, the International Travel Foundation in the UK regularly engages my service. I was instrumental in the establishment of the International Center for Responsible Tourism and helped establish its West African branch. Through this organization, a number of Gambians and others from the sub-region are trained on responsible tourism management. So far, 18 Gambians, 2 Nigerians, 1 Ghanaian, and 2 Kenyans successfully completed their postgraduate, which is at master's level, studies in responsible tourism through my link with the Leeds Metropolitan University in the UK. As a specialist in tourism management, I was in 2016 part of a group of experts consulted by the government of Liberia to help develop a tourism trade strategy following the devastating effects of the Ebola pandemic in that country. In 2003, I was also a consultant for the government of Ghana in helping develop their tourism institutions from a board to an authority with more private sector participation. And in 2014, the government of Lagos State in Nigeria benefited from my expertise in the efficient management of the tourism site of Badagry in Lagos. In 2015 and 2016, I have been consulted by the Agency for the Promotion of Tourism in Senegal to help in their marketing drive by organizing promotional workshops for them at the World Travel Market in London. These experiences and international contacts will help create the relationship necessary for the development of the municipality. As part of my dedication to explore responsible and sustainable tourism in the Gambia, I helped link a number of small-scale producers to market their products in the hospitality industry. Through my work with the Travel Foundation, I helped initiate a number of eco and community-based tourism projects in the Gambia, such as the Gambia is Good project to help local farmers, and these were 2,000 farmers here in the Gambia, mainly women, to sell their products in the hospitality, in the hotels around. My efforts also help people in tourist-receiving communities like Jufure, Janjambure, Katong, Tumani Tenda, Demba, and Sifo, develop their capacity to manage tourist attraction sites and market access for their products. These engagements give me the experience to be able to look at innovative means of creating employment for young people and providing markets for local producers, especially women, in vegetable gardening, those who are craft producers, those engaged in poultry, and so on and so forth within the KMC. I am a leading advocate for the protection of the abuse of children in tourism. I did extensive research on child sex abuse in tourism in the Gambia and regularly advocate for the protection of the rights of children in tourism at conferences and tourism fairs. I served as a board member of the Child Protection Alliance for over 6 years. This experience gave me first-hand information on the state of vulnerable children within the municipality and how to implement initiatives to deal with such problems. On the education front, I co-founded the Institute of Travel and Foundation of the Gambia. The Institute trains students from the Gambia and the sub-region. And through the Camp Africa initiative that I started, hundreds of international tourism students have visited the Gambia to study and interact with students of ITOG. The Institute was able to help 12 students from the Gambia accept scholarships to travel, to study travel and tourism in Nottingham in the UK. I sit on the board of the Institute as its chairperson. We just celebrated 10 years since we established ITOG. Over 1,000 students passed through ITOG with a track record of most of them employed nationally and internationally. I'm happy to add that 6 of our students are presently working with a big airline called Royal Emirates in Dubai. This experience provides me with the knowledge to engage young people in vocational education and apprenticeship projects. In 2004, I was awarded the greatest contribution by a person in responsible tourism at the prestigious World Travel Market in London. The award was conferred on me by the Times of London, World Travel Market, Geographic Magazine, and the ResponsibleTravel.com. I traveled widely in Africa, Europe, North and South America, and has over the years accumulated a wealth of knowledge and experience in politics, management and development work that is uniquely suitable and needed for KMC in the New Gambia. I was born and raised here in Serekunda and Bundung, where my extended family still live. I am married. I will work diligently in building a self-reliant KMC economy to benefit all, not just the few. I will implement transparent and accountable system at all the offices of the Cardiff Municipal Council. I will work in mutual solidarity with other countries and donors towards the eradication of poverty through sustainable development. I'll further consolidate the authority of the Supreme KMC community of citizens by ensuring an inclusive and participatory governance through involving people organized into civil associations that I would refer to community activism. To defend the legitimate individual and public interests and mobilize the active participation of people in managing KMC affairs. In this regard, particular attention will be given to youth and women development. To serve the interests of all people and businesses operating within KMC by providing the necessary services to all according to yearly budgeted allocations and all means at the disposal of the Council in a transparent manner. To turn KMC from a grey to green by introducing innovative methods of dealing with garbage, ensure a clean and beautiful environment. To support the rights of all vulnerable people by working with NGOs to set up support services for women, children, people with disabilities, poor street beggars, and so on. To merge all the above with sustainable action, oriented programs that will be monitored and reported in a transparent manner to all citizens of Cardiff Municipality. Long live Pdois, for liberty, dignity, and prosperity. And I would like to add that I will do everything under my command, not to fail this party. It's a party I love, and it's a party that I helped to create. So I will never fail Pdois in life. Thank you.
Experience. Solid experience. And it's not only for Gambia, but Africa and the world. So that's what we need. And he promised us development for all, not for a few. Now you can stop him your questions. You are welcome.
Where people just give promises without having the hard facts on how to deal with these promises. When I said to Pdois that I wanted to stand, he asked me to go and write what my intentions are. I have done that long time ago. I have written my intentions since July, when I actually approached the party to stand as a mayoral candidate. So that's I have written. But that was meant, if we were going to have a primary, that was what I was going to forward to the members to see if I am capable of actually winning their hearts and minds so that they can vote for me. I don't know, unfortunately or fortunately, I don't know which to say, the other candidate dropped out, so I didn't have a chance to tell you what my intentions are. But now, being approved as a candidate for Pdois, all I have to do is to give my intentions to the party. That's how we operate. We are not individuals who will come and tell you, give you all the promises. That's what Khalifa was telling you. We don't just give promises that we cannot back. I have to give it to the party. The party will see whether this is realistic to attain. Because from an individual point of view, the party is an embodiment of the members of the party. If you have a central committee, it is all those within the central committee that selected a central committee. And they are working towards one goal. Now, it is best then to give it to the central committee to examine what I have written and come up with the final manifesto. So that's what we are waiting for. The final manifesto, I'm promising you, will come soon, and we will actually have a launch of this manifesto. When I'm nominated, then of course I would have had an approval stamp from the IEC that now gives me the authority to speak to you. But I see people giving you promises without having the authority, without even knowing what is in the coffers in KMC. And secondly, they are not talking to you about resource mobilization. Where are they going to get the money from? They don't even know. Pdois does not work in old Gambia. We are looking for a new Gambia. And that means we don't operate on promises. We operate on concrete facts and what we can do. Because if I tell you I can do this, the money is not there, we don't mobilize the resources, it's empty promises. That's why we have to examine everything. When I am given the seal, then I can come back to you and talk to you about our manifesto. Thank you very much. Just to
thank you, Adam. Any question? If not, we call it a day.
Yes, my name is Mayoral. I'm from DRPS. My question is, we just recently concluded the council's election, in which the Pdois underscored compared to other parties, even though they have performed well, according to the statistics given by the party secretary here. The party that was announced to be the leader or the lead, those scored the most or the maximum number of seats in the elections, has also put in a candidate to vie for the mayorship in KMC. So how challenging do you think this thing will be for you as a first-time contestant for the mayorship?
Me?
Yes.
It's in the people. We don't. If you see, we don't go around telling you vote for me. It's because we respect Gambian people. We respect your capacity to think properly. Even though sometimes we do feel disappointed, many do, but we respect Gambian people. That when you are 18 years, you have the capacity to vote, and you have the capacity to think properly and decide who the leaders are. I mean, Halifa for years, I don't know whether some of you can remember when he used to talk in the radio about Magilek, or when we used to go around the country talking to people, that if you have an old lady with a heavy load on her head, going, and you say to this old lady, can I help you? This is very heavy. And the old lady tells you, no, don't help me. If you go around and start crying, you have an agenda. You have an agenda, a different agenda. That's why it is very important for us to be educating the people, to be telling them what they need to do. If they vote for us, we appreciate that, because we can then show them what we can do. But if they don't vote for us, you go back and talk to the Gambian people, not us. All we can do is, we're selfless. I can, at this age, I can say, let me just go and have a good life with my family. I have, as I said, a very lovely wife who can take care of me and the family, or we can take care of each other. But why do we decide at this stage to sacrifice? It's mainly to sacrifice. Because we know we are equipped with the knowledge, we know we are equipped with the ability, we know we are equipped with the humility, we know I can raise my hand, no one can accuse me of corruption in this country. No one. Millions have gone through my hands, but no one. Go to the hotel industry and ask about me. With respect. I've been a personal manager paying over 120 staff, millions, for over 15 years. I was trusted in that position. All the salaries of all the staff goes through my hands. I was an international consultant. Millions come through my hands. 300,000 pounds. The Gambia is Good project. No one today, I can raise my hands. If you have anything against me in terms of corruption, say it, and I'll challenge it. I am confident that no one can find me wanting as far as corruption is concerned or anything is concerned. So I am confident of my honesty. I can tell you what I can do, but then it's left to the Gambian people to decide.
Question is for Honorable Salat. I am Omar from the Standard newspaper. You did mention in your speech that Pdois, despite the fact that you don't intimidate or harass anybody, you are able to perform to the level you have performed. The listeners might be wondering whether there was any form of intimidation, and if you get any report about that during the election or before the elections, which party and where?
I think the emphasis is very clear that we are not holding ministerial posts. We've not used any government vehicle to go and campaign. We have not utilized any form of state resources of any sort. I think you understand what I'm talking about. We are not accusing others. We are simply saying to the Gambian people that the type of politics we are engaging is what we are building for the future. So we are happy that that is emerging, that people voted for us, not for any other reason, because they wanted to vote for us. This is what we are declaring. If others declare the same, you should acknowledge. We are declaring that those who voted for Pdois did it on their own volition, and we won seats. So it means that that is possible. And that is what we are encouraging every sovereign Gambian to do. Go and vote for people on the basis of informed choice. We are saying this is the beginning of a new beginning. We can see the beginning. We are confident that the seats we have won is a reflection that others too can do the same thing, and then people will vote for them on the basis of a free choice. That's what we are emphasizing. That's the lesson, not an allegation against somebody else.
Ladies of the press, this is a press conference organized by People Democratic Organization, Independence and Socialism, Pdois. So we want to state our position on the upcoming council elections, to also introduce our aspirants